Thanks to LUMIX, I got my hands on the GH6, and I just wanted to, I basically just took it out of the box, and I just wanted to put together like a quick first impressions video because I've been shooting on the GH5 for a long time. So finally, with the GH6, right out of the box, I wanted to see what it was like. And hopefully that kind of gives you an idea of what to expect if you decide to order this camera. And I'm totally lighting this whole thing with a window, so the lighting might be all over the place. If you're new here, my name is Caleb and I do freelance video with the Panasonic GH5. And I'm gonna be testing out the GH6, so if you wanna see more videos about this GH6, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So right out of the box, the very first thing that you're gonna notice is just the size. The size difference, especially coming from the GH5, it's almost like holding a GH5 with a cage on. So here is a GH5 with a cage on, and even this almost feels a little bit smaller than what the GH6 actually is. A big difference is that grip right there. It kind of has like almost like a G9 feel to it. It's a little bit boxier, but it has a nice big grip right here on the side, as well as the fan. I mean, that's a big difference coming from the GH5. Now, one of the things I was excited about was this pop-out screen like that. And that's gonna be so nice to kind of keep everything centered. LUMIX also sent me the Leica 10 to 25 millimeter f1.7 and the 25 to 50. And this one's pretty much brand new, but the LUMIX 25 to 50 f1.7. And also SmallRig sent me the cage for the GH6. So I'm just gonna go ahead and toss that cage on right now and, you know, almost start getting this rig ready. Oh man, that has a nice feel to it with the 10 to 25 on there. This is a nice big lens with a 77 millimeter thread on the front. I think I only have like one variable ND that would actually fit this lens. Look at that, you have HDMI clearance when it's popped out like that. So another big difference is the media storage. So you have the CFast Express and an SD slot on the side. So the CFast Express, I'm not used to using these CFast Express cards, so I actually had to purchase one and actually get a reader because I didn't even have a CFast reader for the MacBook. So it's gonna be interesting using the CFast and see how that works. So look at this setup right here. I mean, you have the start of a GH6 cinema rig going on right now. I'm not gonna toss on the top handle for this cage, but it is a start for the cinema rig for the GH6. Now you've got a good button selection on the body of the GH6 as well. You've got two right up here that you're able to customize. You have the audio button, and I'm sure you've seen like a ton of reviews. Turn the knob right away to the movie setting and lock that in because that's all I'm gonna be using this for is the movie setting. So you actually have three record buttons on here. The top, the shutter button, and then that front red button. I just shuffle through the menu real quick to get some of these settings dialed in so that I know that I'm ready to start shooting video with, you know, a new type of camera that I get. So one of the things that you're gonna notice right away is that the photo style, it has the full Vlog on the GH6. So it's not a light version like on the GH5 and it's pre-installed. It already comes on the camera, but it's that full S-curve, that full Vlog. And one of the things that is new to the GH6 is this dynamic range boost. And if you go to turn that on, that's going to give, I believe, up to 13 stops of dynamic range, which is pretty impressive for, you know, a Micro Four Thirds camera. However, that is going to give your minimum ISO at 2000. Now that might limit a few of your shoot options, but for the GH6, if you're shooting in Vlog, you might want to keep that on, turn it on, keep it on. Now, some of these I've already gone through off camera and did just so, you know, I was ready to do. And one of the things is setting your SS gain operation to angle. It'll probably come in at like SEC ISO, but set it to angle because that's going to give you a 180 degree shutter angle. And what that's going to do is whatever frame rate you're shooting in, your shutter is always going to be double whatever that frame rate is. So right off the bat, go ahead and set that shutter angle. Then another thing that I'm going to do is actually go and I'm going to set it at MOV. It might come in at MP4, but set it at MOV. One of the cool things about the GH6 is that it does come with the Apple ProRes. So you can shoot Apple ProRes right on the CFast card, and you will need a CFast card, a super fast CFast card for that. But a couple other things here is the focus peaking. You'll probably want to keep that on, and you can go and like set the color that you want, and you know, the sensitivity, the color display that you'd want, all those things on focus peaking. But that's one of the things that I pretty much always keep on so that I know those areas that are in focus. Another thing I do is go into sound record level adjustment, and I'm going to take that down to 18, which is, you know, a big step over the GH5 with the minus 12 decibel level. So we'll go into the next stage here, and one of the things that you're going to want to do is set these ISO increments to 1/3 if it's not already set to 1/3. That way you can just kind of dial in the ISO just a little bit better. And then some of these autofocus areas I'm probably not going to mess with right now. I'll kind of get into those as I do some of these other tests and some other shoots. So one of the things I like to do is put my histogram on. So I have that on the screen, and you can kind of place that wherever. Usually on my GH5 I have it kind of off to the side over there. I also like having the photo grid line on. Another thing that you might want to set is the Vlog assist. So if you're shooting in Vlog, it actually has, you know, where you can monitor it in Rec 709. So if you want, you can set that on. That way when you go to shoot Vlog, you kind of know where things are at. That's not necessarily a must-have, but that is kind of a nice feature to have, as well as the HLG if you decide to do that. Another thing I like doing is setting those zebra stripes, and like the GH5 Mark II, you can have zebras 1 and 2 on. So I pretty much always have my zebra stripes on, and then I can, on my dial, customize my dial to kind of shuffle through the different percentages on the zebra stripes. Another thing right away that you're going to want to do probably is set a shortcut for your wave and vector scopes. You can take a gray card and see where your IRE levels are, and I think on this one you can actually move it around. Yeah, you can. I think on the GH5 it just is centered all the time, but this one is pretty nice. You can move around so you can kind of have it off-centered. Now this is nice, and you're going to take full advantage of this, is the red record frame indicators. Now when you have that on, the whole screen is outlined red rather than just a little dot flashing. That way you have a very, very good idea of whether you're actually recording. And then the GH6 also has some, you know, red record indicator lights. So there's no more confusion about whether you hit the record button or not. Sometimes on the GH5 you think you're recording, but you're actually not. So right out of the box, just go ahead and turn on this red record frame indicator. That way there is absolutely no confusion on whether you are actually recording or not.